than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman, man of steel, Superman! Superman rocketed to Earth as an infant when the distant planet Krypton exploded. And who, disguised as Clark Kent, bioplanet reporter for the Daily Planet, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and freedom with superpowers far beyond those of ordinary mortals. It's Superman, Superman!
This movie's not very good. Superman 3 was the first movie entirely directed by Richard Lester, as the first movie was entirely Richard Donner and the sequel was a mix of both. And in hindsight, you can see Lester's influence in the second movie was mostly negative, because this third movie takes the bad from its predecessor and elevates it to the extreme. This movie starts off strong, as it's another comedically long Rube Goldberg machine of misfortune, like the wind scene in Superman 2, and personally I love it. But it doesn't last, as this dorky scene proceeds with, well, garbage? Later in the movie we meet our typical friends like Clark, Lois, and Jimmy. Clark, played once again by Christopher Reeve, is still an angel. Reeve is trying so hard to keep this movie afloat, and I love it for him. But this is a feeble task, as Lois has to leave for an undiagnosed reason, and is replaced by Clark's schoolgirl crush, Lana Lang. Yes, they both have double L's. With Lois out of the picture, only one man can save me. That man being Jimmy Olsen. So, come back to the Jimmy Olsen minute. If you don't remember what this is, I've just read an issue of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, and I'll have 1 minute to tell you what it meant, what happened in it. So, we'll just get started. The comic we have today is Superman pal Jimmy Olsen number 159, in which Jimmy Olsen apparently has to kill his old pal Super Gladiator. Whoa, what could that mean? I'll tell you. So, Jimmy Olsen just got transported to another dimension. We're plopped right into the middle of this, and we don't know what's going on, because that happened in a previous comic. But anyway, Jimmy Olsen is transported to ancient Rome, where he's a slave in a jail cell, and someone comes in and he's like, "You're a slave." Jimmy Olsen now doesn't know what's real and what's not. He thinks his old life is a dream. So he heads out and meets this big, strong gladiator, and after some solid words about how the food is gross, the gladiator agrees with him and starts a prison break. As they attempt to break prison, you realize that this was their plan the whole time. Jimmy, also known now as Spartacus, and this big, buff gladiator need to save the world. So, they do that. Jimmy uses his 20th century tactics to defeat the Romans. And after all that, transported back to his normal life, tries to destroy the jewel, doesn't break. Superman puts in his Fortress of Solitude. Cut out a section of that to beat the time, but most of it was Jimmy just being like, "Oh, that's Caesar. Don't kill him, because he'll go on to be emperor." And wow, look at that. I know that from history class. It's not really that crazy. But anyway, and back to despair. As Jimmy breaks his leg pretty quickly into the movie, the whole movie is dedicated to Lana and Clark's relationship. And that leaves the other half of the movie to the villains. I mostly made a joke last time about not remembering the sidekicks from the first Superman, but this time I legitimately 100% forget. I don't even remember the main guy, so we're just gonna call him the bad guy. So, the bad guy and his goons decide to blackmail a computer whiz who also has a plot in this movie, but I'm just gonna skip over it because he's not that important. Anyway, this whiz figures out how to create kryptonite from scratch, and the villains love this because they don't want Superman to stop their schemes of controlling the weather and being generally evil. So this kryptonite kinda works, because it hurts Supes in his morals, because it makes him an evil bad guy. So Superman does like truly evil things, a couple of them being he attempts to seduce and sleep with Lana Lane, and in his most vicious, villainous moment yet, he tries to straighten the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and that ruins a poor souvenir shop owner's business. Once he heads home, the kryptonite goes into full effect, splitting Superman into two, a good Superman and a bad Superman. The bad Superman has all the powers, for whatever reason. It's not really explained. So now the two Supermen will fight. This fight between the two Supermen is actually really funny. Not because it wants to be, but because it becomes so glaringly obvious that the budget was cut and the Supermen are just fighting with a flimsy metal pole, which, as I said, is really funny. But during this fight, they just wander around the junkyard swinging fists and end up near a trash compactor. And Clark, he gets stuck in. The end, except now he wins, and Superman's not evil anymore, because, And so he just heads to this evil villain clave and realizes the guy, who I haven't really talked about, makes this giant ultra computer that can do all the evil computer things in the world. It's actually really funny, because when this movie came out, computers weren't as big, world-conquering monsters that they are today. So they really didn't know what they could do. They could take over nuclear launch codes, which I guess they're not wrong. You can download your data off of Facebook. They don't know what that means, but that's something you can do. But they went for a little more radical. Not only could you hack into governments, you could steal some money, you could turn people into cyborgs. Yeah, so about near the end of the movie, big bads are finally beaten. Oh boy, we're gonna head home to jail. And as everyone's walking away, I shoot out of the computer, wrapping around this poor woman, pulling her into the gears and grinding her into bits, and as she comes out, it's a half robot, half human. Superman's greatest enemy. A woman and also some steel mashed together haphazardly. So Superman gets rid of her pretty fast, leaving that wacky plot point out into the open. It's out there now, they can't take it back, and it has no input on the rest of the movie, because it just pretty much ends. Great. At least I don't need to get that unreasonably angry, because I'm so unreasonably angry that I'm just sleepy. Ugh. Actually, before I do that, I just have to say, I condensed this plot as much as possible, but they stretch what I just explained out for a solid 2.5 hours. I'm actually not quite sure if that's the correct length, but that's my thoughts. Alright. It's time to rank this bad boy. And considering, after I watched this movie, I need to take a full week off before I would move on to watching my next one, it's not going to be very high. So, Superman 3 is an F tier. The lowest of the low, although maybe a movie could be worse and I might bump it up, because it's really bad, but I hate to say there might be worse in the future. And as this video ends, I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit just to say that I've been procrastinating on making these videos. I've had to deal with other things in my life, obviously, but the main thing I just want to point out is at the moment of finishing this, I am a grand total of 20-ish movies in. This is the 4th or 5th video I've made, and I just finished watching Richie Rich yesterday. That won't mean much to you, unless you see my list, which you can if you go to the Discord and just at me. If you at me and be like, hey Tyler, I want you to show me the list, I'll just post it in the general chat, or I'll DM it to you or whatever, so you can see the hundreds of movies I'll go through in the future. But I'm really far behind on this. I'm not going to speed up, of course, I just thought it'd be funny to tell you.